Hi there, my name is Oliver for Tutorialpilot and welcome to our Trapcode TAO tutorial. And first I'm going to show you what we will create today. Here we go, some cool 3D space moving spheres with lighting and subsurface scattering and all that stuff going on. Or what you can do, maybe you want to do that with some of this geometry or this one, just colorize it the way you like. This with the balls is what we do, and I want to explain something to the other variations. You can download the project file, of course, on ILUMY.design. There go on tutorials and find the TAO tutorial with the balls, and you can download the project file. First, let me explain what is TAO for and what is TAO not for. If you want to do some 3D text or objects like houses, ships, airplanes, and all that things, OBJ import, then definitely TAO is not the right tool of choice. Therefore, use Element 3D from Andrew Kramer's video copilot. But if you want to do some organic shapes or abstract shapes or something just stupid crazy 3D geometry with lighting, reflection, subsurface scattering and all that stuff, then TAO is definitely a very, very cool plugin. And yeah, let's get started. First, make a new composition. Make it HD. We have a 25 frame rate and 10 seconds long. That's okay. But you can choose a frame rate of your choice, of course. And next is we need a new solid, and we call that BG for background. And we need another new solid, and we call that TAO. And we need another layer, new camera, and make it 35 millimeters and hit OK. Next, if you already have installed TAO, just go to your effects and presets and type in TAO, and then TAO shows up. And with the TAO layer selected, double click on the effect or simply drag him to the TAO layer, and this is what you got. So first let me explain some settings for all the guys new to TAO. You have the path generator, which on default creates this path, and you can define the path here in the shape. You can choose between circle, line and fractal. We want to have a circle, and this is the size of the circle. We leave it on default. And you have also the option to use paths from TAO lights or use passes from masks. So maybe you can just with a pen tool draw a mask and then apply TAO to it, and then you have the shape generated from your path. But we will do that in another tutorial. For now, we leave all like it is. Now, interesting is the segments part, and we want to use later on also the textures, material lighting, and the rendering. So these features we will touch in this tutorial. I hope I try to do it step by step, and if you can't follow, I will explain on the end of the tutorial again what we did. So even if you lost us during the tutorial, just watch it until the end, and then I will explain again what we did, and so you can follow and make it on your own. Should be not so difficult because it's a very basic one, but it got a very cool effect. So, talking enough, let's do some work. Here, the segments. It means now first let me explain. The segment mode is on default extrude n-gon, and we will change that to repeat sphere, which means now it created 25 instances of a sphere, and each sphere has 3 sides. So if you decrease that, for example, you see now we have 5 instances of a sphere, and the sphere has 3 sides. So if you increase the sides, as higher the value, as smoother the edges on the ball you can see. Okay? For now, we bring it to 70, and the sides to 12 is enough, just for do a preview. And we will decrease the size to 30, and X, Y, and Z always to 20 by 20 by 20. This is what you got. Now, what we want to do is, in this randomness settings, just down here, we want to push all these spheres in X, Y, and Z space and give them a randomness, okay? For that, just increase the random X position to something like 500 or 600, and also the Y position, maybe so, and the Z position also, okay? So, next is, we want to give them balls a random size. So here you have the random size, and if you scale that, you can see you got some randomness in the size of the single spheres, okay? So this is fine for now. If you now increase the segments of the sphere, means it makes more instances of these single sphere in a circle direction. So if you increase that, you simply get more spheres, and it's got a cool rotation, and you see it all generates around the center here. So that means we can later on push the center to the down right corner and put a light in here and got a cool lighting going on. For now, I leave it on 1125, which is okay for me. Okay, so that's it so far with these segment settings. Next is we want to bring our center or camera position in place. So for that, we select the camera and the camera XY track tool, and just bring the center of the spheres to the down right corner, to something like here, that you here have the center, okay? And we bring in a light, make new light, make it a point light, and hit OK. Now you can see the lighting is gone on here, and it shines from inside to outside, okay? If you go to your camera and go to the left view, you can see what's going on. Here's your camera. Oh, let me take this. Here's the camera watching in the left direction, and you can see the light is just on the beginning of your particle field or your sphere field. So we want to have the light, we select it, and we want to bring it in the middle of this spheres going on. You can control check from the top if everything's fine. As you see, this is the camera, and the light sits definitely in the middle of all these spheres, okay? So now we can go back to active camera view. And now let me explain, we go back to DAO, and now let me explain some settings in the texturing and material lighting and the rendering. So first is, I explain the lighting and the material. What you can do for now is change the light fall off from none to smooth to get a cool light fall off. Why you do that in DAO? Because in the light settings, you also have the option here to adjust fall off and radius, but that will not affect the DAO particles. Okay, so no chance to do anything. You can do whatever you like here. It won't change anything inside DAO. You have to achieve these settings of the light within DAO, and you got access to the settings if you turn the light fall off from none to smooth. Okay, and then you can play with the radius. As you see here, comes more light to here. If you increase that, if you decrease that, the light goes far away. Okay, so we leave it on default 500 for now. That's okay. Next thing is texturing. You can just texture it, or you can just give the particles a color by using the material and lighting options with color. But in our case, we want to have some cool shading on these little spheres. So for that, we need a texture, and we will build that texture in within After Effects. For that, make a new composition and make it this time, first call it color, or we call it DAO color, and make it 400 by 400 and make it black and hit OK. Be sure that it has the same duration like your main comp. And in the DAO color, go to Layer, New Solid, make it black and comp size, and hit OK. And apply a 4-color gradient on that. just type in 4 minus, and you get the 4 color gradient, and just drag it onto the black solid. Next is we want to have a bluish color on this texture, and we change all these settings first to blue, the purple to blue, the green to blue, and the red, the yellow to blue. And now just double click on the first blue and give him a lighter blue, maybe something like that. Second one also put here. Let's see, yeah, it's okay. This one, so, a bit darker, okay. And now you can play with the anchor points to get some cool shading going on there. Maybe something like so. Yeah, that looks cool. Okay, we leave this as it is. Next is, go to back to your DAO comp and to project and bring in your DAO color and bring it under the background. Okay, you also can hide the layer, we don't need it. Visible, and go back to your DAO layer. So now, textures, you can select first a color texture, which is in our case the DAO color. Oh, I type color. I mean color, sorry. It's a Friday, please excuse. So now you can see all of these bubbles are tinted in blue and got this blue map texture on it. Okay. Now I have to jump sometimes between rendering, texturing, and material and lighting. You can leave all of these positions open, and try to do it without jumping too much. Let me see. To explain now, all these DAO particles are solid. Simply solid, like metal, like steel, like stone, like whatever. If you want to change that in rendering, you can choose the shader, and you can choose you can change that from flat to density, which means now you got this cool subsurface looking lighting going on. And you can change the normal effect, which is if you push it up, you got much more depth. If you push it down, the depths get less. So we want something in between. It's cool. Let's try 50, and the dense effect also to maybe 82. That's okay. You can leave all the other settings as they are. That's okay for now. And we jump back to our material and lighting. That will be the next we take care of. If you change your render options to density, then you don't have access to these diffuse color and specular settings, which are driven by the render in the density settings, okay? So what we will do first to get a cool effect is we go to the image-based lighting and just open that, and you can choose HDR textures, and we will choose the dark industrial. Now you got very cool reflections going on every sphere, and you can adjust that, give them a little bit more of a metal look of those balls, and a touch of a Frenzel, like so. And yeah, that looks not so bad. Maybe we'll play with the light radius a bit, bring it down a little bit, like so, and the distance a bit up, just a touch. And now open please the light settings and go to light options and bring the intense up. And now you got a very cool subsurface effect between all these balls, and we have to adjust the radius, of course, in the DAO settings. But for now I leave it like it is and go back to my DAO. Let's close that and you can see it. And I play with the light radius and the distance. So I bring the light radius a little bit down because I want to just have the glowing here going on. And if I go down with the radius, as you see, the light getting a little bit more darker. So again, light options, increase the intense a bit, like so. Yeah, and that looks very cool so far. Next is we want to adjust our background. Of course, we want to see what's going on here in these dark areas. So select the background and apply also a 4-color gradient on that. And this blue one here, take the pick with tool, and we want to have something like this. I want to have the same for the yellow, and for the purple we want to have a black, and also for the green a black. Now this is what we got. Now we want to play with the anchor points of the light. So we bring this bluish light a little bit out here, and this one a bit out to the right down, and give them a bit more color. Let's see. Maybe a touch more blue. Like so. Yeah, it's okay. So that this lightened color fits to the color of these spheres here. And in the upper side we can leave it, just bring it a bit down, like so. Yeah, and that's not bad so far. The next thing we want to do is apply an adjustment layer to all this. Layer, new adjustment layer. And if you have installed the Trapcode suite, then you have also access to Trapcode's Shine. And this is what we apply to the adjustment layer. Here we go. Bring the center point to the right corner, like so. And just go to colorize and change the 3-color gradient to electric. Now we got our cool blue shining going on. This diffuse light here. Maybe you can play with the boost lights, but be careful with that. Don't get so much overblur. I'll leave it on default 0. I just want to have this little lighting going on there. And at last but not least, you can animate the TAO, and therefore we go to our segments back and just animate the rotate X. Just from here, click stopwatch and bring it from 0 to 10 seconds, and let's increase that to something like maybe 50 or 60. Let's try 60. What the heck? 60. So, and just look what we have so far. Yeah, that looks very cool. All these spheres moving in 3D space. Now we want to have a zoom. For that, we animate the camera. Select the camera. Go to transform and go to position and just stopwatch the position. Go to the end of your comp, choose the Z-Track camera tool, and just zoom in just over time, like so. Okay? Here we go. This is what we have so far now. That looks very cool. Okay, as you see, you have a lot of flickering going on here with the texture, and that is because we give them TAO particle spheres on the beginning segments of 12 sides. Means you have not this dense mesh, and if you increase that to maybe 64, it takes more time to render, but you get rid of these flickering effects. I will preview that again. And you also go to the render settings, and here you have the super sample, and you push them up to 49 or 60. So in this case, if you do the preview, you get rid of this flickering images reflections. So this is the preview. As you see, the light staying, the reflection staying very stable on the balls. Okay. So final touch. TAO has one big deficit, which is let me just stop the preview. Has a big deficit. You don't have any chance or possibility to get a depth of field effect in the camera. Okay? So what you can do is in Trapcode TAO, in the rendering, you can set the render settings from full render to depth normalized, which gives you a z-depth map. And please switch super sampling off for that. Now you got a depth map, which means the darker balls in front and as lighter they come, as more there in the background. So if you have plugins like Frischluft, depth of field, then you can apply that to create this, or you can duplicate the DAO layer and work with the built-in effect in After Effects. It's called camera lens. Here we go. Camera lens blur. It does nearly the same like the plugin from Frischluft, but it's not so strength, not so cool. But you can have a workaround with using the camera lens blur. In our case, I switch it back to full render and super sampling on 49, and we will tweak that quick and dirty. So we make a new adjustment layer, new adjustment layer. We will give him a blur, fast blur, and give them fast blur size like that. Make sure you enable repeat edge pixels, otherwise we have these white outline here, as you see. And apply a mask on it. By holding shift string, you can make a circle, like so. Next is, I want to achieve that a little bit, push it to here. And next is we invert the mask, and we hit on the keyboard MM, and give him a mask feather, to feather these out. And maybe we expand it a little bit so that we have the blurriness gone on here. Something like so. And as you see, on 100%, that looks very, very cool. And now you can bring in your logo or just render it as footage, as stock footage for whatever you like. You can play around with the radius settings in the DAO material and lighting settings, or you can change the basic form of these balls. I show you that just for a second. Go to the segments, and maybe you bring the sides down to 4 and change the segment mode to repeat n-gun. And here we go. Blocks. You can change the height, the length, the chamfer even. So you can chamfer all that to get reflections gone on there. Here we go. Or you want to have, let's say, more sides. So you got cones. And also these cool subsurface effect going on there. You can change the color by playing with your color here on the texture, on the color texture. You can do very easily some cool, fancy things within this single animation. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Got an idea what Trapcode TAO can do for you. Make sure to subscribe us on Facebook and on YouTube, and follow us. Thank you for watching. My name is Oliver for Tutorialpilot. See you next time. Bye.